just need them to fold their screen.
Inside the speaker.
Squeeze in, everybody. Squeeze
on in,
in.
everybody.
When you guys are ready, you
Squeeze
can get
in towards
started.
the podium. Keep squeezing.
Hello and welcome. Everyone, please gather around. We want all our fellow nurses and allies to stand right next to us and behind us. What an exciting and inspiring past few days this has been. My name is John Hobby, and I am a registered nurse on the Integrated Health and Aging Population Unit at Western Psychiatric Hospital. I am also a veteran who served in Iraq, and a combat medic, and a former City of Pittsburgh paramedic. We are here to celebrate our historic contract victory. Our groundbreaking contract ensures UPMC will invest in retaining, recruiting, and respecting nurses so our patients receive the quality care that they deserve and we can address the mental health crisis.
Woo! We are also here to proudly proclaim victory for UPMC's announcement following our contract settlement that they are increasing the nursing start rate throughout the entire system. My name is Mara McDonald. I'm a nurse on the adult, child, and adolescent bipolar services at Western Psychiatric. Let's be crystal clear. There's one reason and one reason only that UPMC is raising start rates for nurses, and that is our organizing. UPMC execs did not do this out of the kindness of their hearts. No way. We made them do this through our unity and our strong actions. Of course, UPMC is trying to take credit for our work as we expected, but a fluffy press release, is not a union contract. I can wait. It sounds nice, but it's an empty promise. All UPMC nurses need a real seat at the table, especially to make sure that investments are extended to senior nurses who too often are undervalued. Nurses at every UPMC hospital deserve guaranteed longevity increases and yearly raises, just like we want at Western Psychiatric. And UPMC needs to address understaffing, working conditions, paid time off, and so much more. So we will not stop until every UPMC nurse has a union voice. When I say more scrubs, you say less suits. More scrubs.
Less suits.
More scrubs.
Less suits.
That's right. Now, John and I would like to say a few words about why we do this work. Adolescent psychiatric care is my passion. In my career, I've seen firsthand how quality mental health treatment can positively change patients' futures as well as their families, communities, and the world. Because when young people get the support they need, they can find careers, lasting relationships, and stability and purpose.
The reason I went into the Army and trained as a paramedic is because I wanted to serve my community. That same passion for service is what made me want to become a nurse. I specifically chose psychiatric care because I wanted to help those most underserved and stigmatized, especially people of color with mental illness who fall through the cracks of the system. This historic contract will help us carry forward our personal mission to provide quality mental health care to our community. We have made UPMC invest not just in their $50 million luxury jets, trips to Boca, and executive payouts, but in frontline nurses and the care we provide.
When we started our contract negotiations in August, we knew we had to take a stand to send a message to the UPMC execs that we are no longer going to accept these intolerable conditions for our patients and ourselves. We set out to make sure that UPMC, our state's largest healthcare provider, does its part to help solve the mental health emergency that we're facing. Our number one goal in negotiations was to make UPMC invest in recruitment and retention in order to improve staffing so that formerly closed beds could reopen and we could serve more patients and more effective, compassionate treatment. And we won. We've proven that UPMC nurses unite and take strong action, and then we can make major progress for our patients and our profession. Our contract is retroactive back to October 1st and runs through September 30th, 2027. Of course, we won guaranteed annual raises for every nurse, but we knew we had to go much further. The many other gains in this historic contract include the first guaranteed minimum wage rate over $40 for nurses with a Bachelor's of Science anywhere in the UPMC system. The BSN nurse start rate will go up from $31.65 to $40.25 by the end of the contract. That's a 31% increase. We also won longevity increases that respect and reward experience, substantial wage increases to encourage participation in our clinical ladder, a professional development program which allows us to advance our skills, and the protection of our benefits, including health care, life insurance, tuition assistance, disability insurance, and retirement. Taken together, the guaranteed minimum raises, the longevity increases, the improved pay for the clinical ladder, this provides nurses the opportunity for average raises of 35%. That would mean an average of $11 more per hour or $22,880 more annually by the end of the contract. The highest raises some nurses are getting under this contract total 44%, an average of $29,391 more annually.
These are truly inspiring and transformational advances in nursing at Western Psych. But we could not have done this without the foundation that was built by the courageous union nurses at Allegheny General, West Penn, and other area hospitals. Our contract victory and UPMC's announcement of increased nursing start rates throughout its systems are the culmination of a year of nurse advocacy across Pittsburgh. This is the first time that as nurses, we have been coordinating across health systems and across the region to drive higher standards for our profession. UPMC was compelled to announce its increases because it was facing upward pressure from our groundbreaking union contracts with a $40 starting rate and would have been increasing difficulties recruiting new nurses. It is now my honor to welcome one of those Allegheny General nurses, Myra Taylor, and let's give her a big hand.
Hello. It is incredible to be here with all of you here today. Like you said, I'm Myra Taylor. I'm a critical care nurse at Allegheny General Hospital, and I'm a proud member of SCIU Healthcare Pennsylvania. I'm here to congratulate our Western Psychiatric nurses for your historical contract win. You're a shining example for all healthcare workers because you have shown everyone that UPMC nurses can win when you speak together and you take united action. And together, nurses at Allegheny General Hospital, West Penn, and Western Psych have shown that we have the power to actually transform nursing for an entire market. The contract win at Western Psychiatric and UPMC's announcement of an increased start rate system-wide are the crescendo of more than a year of organizing throughout our region. Last year, nurses across Pittsburgh met together and we created our vision for the healthcare system that we wanted to create. At Allegheny General, we won the first union contract in the history of Western Pennsylvania that had a start rate of at least $40 an hour for all nurses with a Bachelor's of Science degree. We also strengthened our staffing standards, achieved significant raises, won protections against workplace violence, and made many other improvements. The A major goal of our contract was to increase recruitment and retention to ensure quality care. I'm very proud to say that we have been successful. Staffing at Allegheny General has increased by over 140 nurses over the past year. We blazed a trail that has enabled subsequent contract victories at West Penn and Western Psychiatric, as well as the increased start rates across UPMC's system. This year, we proved that together we can force massive healthcare corporations like UPMC to take some of those resources they're wasting on their luxury jets and reinvest them directly into nurses and patients. Now it's the time for all nurses in our region to join together because we're far from finished. It is well documented, and every one of us knows that it is the intolerable working conditions that drive nurses from the bedside. It is time to come together as nurses in this region and demand the kind of standards that other professions enjoy. Real parental leave in a profession that is 86% women. Our local firefighters have 6 months. Paid time off that nurses can access. Health benefits that nurses can afford to use without going into debt to their own employers. Investments that are incentivized experienced nursing to stay at the bedside instead of leaving a few years later. We need to make enforceable staffing ratios like the ones that we've established at Allegheny General as the norm for our entire city, and so much more. We have many of these standards in our union hospitals, but our non-union hospitals do not. It is time to modernize our profession, and we know that making these kind of changes only happen when nurses unite. Not long ago, it seemed like nurses were separated, and UPMC and AHN had all the power. Now, it feels like these corporations are powerless to stopping our growing union movement. Let's go!
Thank you. Now we want to express our deepest gratitude to someone who has stood side by side with us from day one. Please welcome Dr. Ken Thompson, a leading psychiatrist both locally and nationally.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm a psychiatrist. I work here in the city of Pittsburgh, in the neighborhoods around, and I've been here for the last 30 years. And I'm here today because I want to talk about feelings. The feeling I want to talk about, first of all, is a great sense of relief. I've been here at talks for the past month and a half, and I didn't know where it was going to go, but the nurses stood together and they made history. I feel elation. I am so happy that this has happened. But most of all, I feel extremely proud of these nurses. How did they do what they did? The way they did it was that they stuck together. They trusted each other, they loved each other, and they hung in there, and they insisted that they were going to make history, and they have. This giant building here behind us, it's nothing to look at, really. What you really want to look at is the strength of the people behind me. That's what really stands out. I want to talk just for a second about what the future's going to bring. Pittsburgh makes history. People in Pittsburgh make history. We made the industrial era. What you are on the precipice right now, the precipice of, is the era of caring and solidarity. That's what we're now making here in Pittsburgh. And the nurses here from AHN, from UPMC, have made it clear that all we have to do is follow their example. Maybe the next step will get the rest of the health sector organized, even the doctors. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Next up, we have the great leader of our city, Mayor Ed Gainey.
Good evening, everyone. I first want to start off by just thanking the nurses. Again, another historic victory. A victory where we show when we stand together, we can accomplish anything. And I want to say congratulations to each and every one of you. Because together you standing tall has changed the course and the dynamics of history in this city. As mayor, I'm very aware of our city's need for mental health services. And I'm painfully aware of how often we have fallen short. We have worked hard to stand up a robust program at the city to deal with co-response. There's when our police officers and social workers respond together to calls with mental health components. This is a huge advantage in delivering the right response to the right problems we're rightly proud of with our OCHS. But I'm even more proud today because not only have we proven that mental health is important and that we need our nurses, we also proven that the value of our nurses is in the services that they provide, in the raises that they'll receive. We need to make sure that we are paying our nurses what they rightfully deserve. And every time I stand here, it's been historic what these nurses have been able to accomplish. We know the great service they provide. We know that mental health in this city is major, and it's something that we have to take serious. And it's never that we didn't have enough beds. We just didn't have enough nurses. And we need to ensure that we have nurses in Western Sight, and that's why this contract looms so large. I want to thank you for adding humanitarian to a contract that helps people with mental health, that opens up beds, that pays our nurses, and gives us the ability to be able to deal with the mental health like we always should have been able to do. Thank you. This is major. And it just continues to deal with and shows that when we stick together, that when we fight, we win. And so I want to congratulate all of you. And I know we got a long way to go. But who would have thought we got this far? Huh? Who would have thought we got this far? We did. You know why we did? Because love, dedication, and togetherness does one thing. It produces contracts that's good for the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Gainey. Now I want to introduce an elected official who spoke powerfully at our rally for mental health care recently, Allegheny County Executive Sarah Inamorado.
Well, the vibe is definitely different today. I'm feeling good today because we got another W. Because I am so incredibly proud to stand with these nurses behind me today and every day. Because this didn't start today. This started when we were in front of Allegheny General and our nurses won a historic contract. And then we said, we're not stopping there. We're going over to West Penn. We're going to get another W for our nurses and our healthcare workers. And now here we are in another healthcare system in a UPMC run facility winning another historic contract for nurses. So congratulations. Congratulations to our union nurses at Western Sight for your victory in landing this contract. Because again, this isn't because we have benevolent leaders in the highest floors of this building. It's because nurses and healthcare workers in the community came together and said, we deserve more. We deserve a contract that increases pay, transparency, and professional supports for each and every one of you. Listen, I run this county. I run human services. I run a county jail. I have a front row seat to the mental health crisis. I know what it means when we don't have every single possible bed open. It makes us more unsafe, and it does not care for our neighbors who are dealing with mental and behavioral health issues. So not only did you fight for yourselves, but you fought to build a better system, one that we have a lot of work to do here locally, but we need to be moving forward constantly and making progress. And we know the path to a better, more compassionate mental behavioral health system is a path that pays and respects workers who deliver that care each and every day. And this win, it wasn't just for you at Western Psych. You won a county-wide, or a system-wide pay increase for all UPMC nurses. So congratulations on that. And this is a reminder that shows us the power of a union, the power of solidarity. So thank you for not only fighting for yourselves, for better pay, training, and retention supports, but also standing with your patients for more quality care. Thank you for fighting for nurses and healthcare workers that will come after you and who will benefit from this contract. Thank you for inspiring the 20,000 other UPMC nurses without a union contract to show them what is possible when you come together with your coworkers, with the community, with elected leaders to fight for a safer, healthier, and more compassionate healthcare system. We can win that. Imagine how we can change our entire healthcare system if every single nurse, every single healthcare worker has a seat at the table with a union behind them. Imagine the better care patients would receive from our hospitals and our healthcare system. Imagine staying at your job and building a lifetime career in healthcare the way it used to be, the way it is supposed to be, the way it can be. Imagine having the wage to support you and your family and having the time off to spend with your family. That is the healthcare system that we deserve. That is the healthcare system we are fighting for. That is the healthcare system that we are going to win when we come together and say that we demand more. So thank you all. We are just getting started, and I'm looking forward to what we are going to win together. So thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Executive Inamorado. I also want to recognize that we have a state Senate candidate here who's a big supporter of nurses and healthcare workers, Nicole Rusido. But next up, we have our own Western Psych co-worker, Chris Hunter.
Hello. We need to send a loud message to the UPMC executives in the boardroom of this dark tower. Or maybe they're all the way up in their $50 million jet. Or maybe they're in Boca. Or maybe even Italy. So we need to be really loud. When I say more scrubs, you say less suits. More scrubs!
Less suits!
More scrubs!
Less suits!
Thank you. As John said, my name is Chris Hunter, and I've been a nurse at Western Psych for over 8 years. I currently work on the Center for Autism and Developmental Disorders. I'm also the president of the union chapter at Western Psych. Like my coworkers, I do this work because I believe that when we treat those who are most vulnerable with compassion and empathy, we can create a more compassionate and empathetic world. That's why I was pursuing a PhD in religious studies before deciding to become a psych nurse to be part of a more direct, concrete change. The population we treat at Western Psych is often misunderstood, stigmatized, and outcast. They often do not have a voice to advocate for themselves, so we need to advocate for them. Together, we have advocated fiercely for our patients and proven that when UPMC nurses unite, we can achieve historic improvements for them, as well as our families, for our community, and for our profession. And we have shown that when nurses organize across our hospitals and health systems, we can fundamentally change the entire market. In response to nurses setting an unprecedented $40 an hour start rate at Allegheny General, West Penn, and now Western Psych, UPMC has sent out a press release saying that they are raising nurse starting rates across the system. UPMC is going to pretend that they did this out of their own benevolence. But are UPMC nurses fooled? No! I said, are UPMC nurses fooled? No! That's right. UPMC increased the start rate because of our groundbreaking contracts, because of non-union nurses organizing for a voice, because of the overwhelming support from elected leaders in our community, because of the media scrutiny of their luxury jet and executive pay packages, and because nurses have launched a class action lawsuit now backed by the United States Department of Justice, which accuses UPMC of abusing its monopoly power to drive down nurses' wages, benefits, staffing, and legal rights. Today, we let UPMC know that recruitment, retention, and respect for nurses are the legs of the tripod needed for quality care. We have started to drive UPMC to invest more in us and in our patients. At the same time, for the 20,000 UPMC nurses who don't have a union contract, there is no transparency. Nothing is guaranteed, and executives could make cuts at any time, as we have seen with the recent 1,000 layoffs. We are going to help all our fellow nurses unite in unions so they have a real voice in their jobs and how they deliver care. Imagine the progress we will accomplish around staffing, parental leave, affordable health care, wage increases that reward experience, retirement, and more when all nurses have a seat at the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I would like to also recognize and thank State Representative Dan Miller, who's been with us from the beginning. Now, I'd like to give a huge shout out to another community ally who's been with us also from the beginning. Please give a round of applause for prominent Pitt professor, Dr. Jeffrey Shook.
Good evening, everybody. I'm just super thrilled to be here with all of you celebrating this victory, really historic victory. So my name is Jeffrey Shook, and I'm a professor in school social work at the University of Pittsburgh. And since 2016, I've been co-leading the Pittsburgh Wage Study. It's a mixed method study of hospital workers and other workers here in the city of Pittsburgh and in Western PA. As I said, it's really such an honor and thrill to be here. Huge congratulations again for this win. It's a really good contract. And the thing, I'm super proud of you too, because you really stood together throughout this, and you fought, even when things got really tough. You come to your jobs, you do the work of your jobs, you fought for this contract, and you really helped the city, right? You help the healthcare system in this city. So in addition to the contract, I'm glad to see the announcement regarding the pay increase in the UPMC system. I think, as a number of people have said, the work that's been going on at Allegheny General, West Penn, and at Western Psychiatric has really paved the way for this announcement. But there is just so much more to do. So as pleased as I am with these events, we have to keep fighting in this fight. As has been noted here, has been noted many times, the hospital workers in this city, the healthcare workers, the Western psychiatric workers, really bore the brunt of the COVID pandemic. The pandemic really just exacerbated a lot of existing conditions of insufficient pay and benefits, poor working conditions, lack of voice in decision making, insufficient staffing. These things have been documented over and over again, and they have left hospital workers here on the brink. And we have seen too many leave the field because of the pressures of the work. But we've also seen so many stay, right? Because commitment to the work, commitment to the patients, commitment to what they're doing. So as we continue to deal with and address the workforce crisis in our hospital system, our healthcare system, which I've said this many times is really the backbone of the city, as we continue to address this workforce crisis, it's really important that we note that there's so many workers in this city working without a contract, who don't have the protections and benefits of a union contract. And we need to continue to fight to help workers get their unions, help workers get their contracts. And this, what you've done here in this effort really has helped move this forward. So super pleased to be here. Speak at a lot of events around, and this is one where it's really a celebration of the hard work that folks have done. But we got to keep working, right? We got to keep working and moving. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shook. Next up, please welcome UPMC Presbyterian nurse, Naomi Edwards.
Hi. Can you hear me or no?
Yeah.
All right. I'm so happy to be here and honored. Thank you. I'm Naomi Edwards. I'm a resource nurse, so I float across different units at UPMC Presbyterian and Montefiore. But unlike the other nurses here today, my nurse coworkers and I don't have a union voice. There's many reasons why I'm proud to stand here with UPMC Western Psych nurses. First of all, many of us, myself included, we have family members, friends, and loved ones who've been helped and even saved by the care that Western Psych nurses provide. And at my hospital, I've seen the impact on patients and nurses when patients are waiting, sometimes days for a bed to open up at Western Psych so they can get the very specific kind of care that they need. When we support Western Psych nurses, we support the patients that they take care of, and we also support solutions to the broader mental health crisis going on right now. I'm also here because my nurse coworkers and I, we've been dealing with the same overwhelming patient loads, extreme understaffing, burnout, and turnover that UPMC has been forcing on nurses at Western Psych. The difference being that Western Psych nurses have a seat at the table to push back and create actual meaningful change. UPMC's learned that whatever role they can't or won't properly staff, nurses fill in the gaps without any increase in compensation or support. If there's not enough patient care techs, if there's no patient care techs, nurses take on those tasks on their shift. If there's no unit secretary, the charge nurse is going to absorb that role into their own for that shift. So many new nurses come in and get used up and burned out, and they quit. We're also hemorrhaging our experienced nurses because they can't take it anymore. UPMC disincentivizes longevity. Finally, I'm here today because we've seen so clearly that when nurses organize and negotiate across hospitals, we drive up the standards at all hospitals. When union nurses at Allegheny General, West Penn, and Western Psychiatric set the first ever $40 an hour starting rate for nurses, then UPMC is forced to follow their lead. but non-union nurses have no guarantees, no transparency, no seat at the table. The major driver of turnover in the nursing profession is working conditions and understaffing. After all the experienced nurses that we've lost in the middle of a growing nursing shortage, UPMC has announced no meaningful investments in retaining their experienced nurses. So non-union nurses are waking up and realizing that we need to demand better from UPMC. We're realizing that we need to show up for each other within each hospital and across hospitals. We're realizing that decisions about our jobs and our patients need to be made by nurses at the bedside and not by executives in a boardroom at the top of a tower. We're realizing that all Pittsburgh nurses need to unite as one strong union so that we can create a sustainable future for our profession, for our patients, and the entire healthcare system. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi, and all of our incredible community allies. It's been a pleasure to be here with you all today. In closing, I want to announce that the nurses at Western Psychiatric and other hospitals are circulating an open letter to the UPMC executives. The letter calls on UPMC to invest its massive resources in raising up the standards for all of the nursing workforce, especially our experienced nurses. UPMC has $27 billion in revenue and $8 billion in cash in investments, and a moral responsibility to solve the nursing crisis. If you are a UPMC nurse, please sign our open letter and help circulate it by going to upmcnurseletter.org. That's upmcnurseletter.org. We will continue to drive historic change and help every nurse throughout Western Pennsylvania win a union voice. Thank you for being here, everyone. Woo!